Picture this. You're standing in what was supposed to be your dream barndominium, the one you spent months planning, the one that was going to change everything. But instead of pride, you feel sick to your stomach because you just realized you've made a mistake that's going to cost you $37,000. And the worst part? You're not alone. Thousands of barndominium owners are hemorrhaging money right now, and they don't even know it yet. Look, I'm not here to scare you, but someone needs to tell you the truth about these 5 mistakes before you break ground, before you sign that contract, before you make a decision you can't undo. Because here's what nobody talks about in those glossy barndominium magazines or those perfectly filtered Instagram posts. The catastrophic mistakes are always the ones you never see coming. You know what's fascinating about barndominiums? They've exploded in popularity over the last 5 years. Everyone wants one. The open concept, the rustic charm, that perfect blend of industrial and homey. It's intoxicating. But here's the thing about trends. They move fast, and when people rush, they make mistakes. Big ones, life-altering ones. And Ranger barndominiums? They're beautiful, absolutely stunning. But they come with their own unique set of pitfalls that can drain your bank account faster than you can say structural engineer. So let's talk about mistake number 1. And this one breaks my heart every time I see it happen because it's so preventable, yet it destroys budgets with ruthless efficiency. The foundation miscalculation. Here's what happens. You're working with your builder, and they give you a quote for the foundation. Seems reasonable. You nod, you sign, you move forward. But what you didn't account for, was the soil composition on your specific piece of land. See, Ranger barndominiums are heavy. Heavier than people realize. That metal frame, those thick walls, the kind of interior finishes people want nowadays. We're talking serious weight. And if your soil has high clay content, or if there's any moisture issue, or if the compaction isn't absolutely perfect, you're going to need a completely different foundation system. And suddenly, that $12,000 foundation quote becomes a $42,000 nightmare. The emotional weight of this hits differently at 3 in the morning when you're lying awake, calculator in hand, trying to figure out where you're going to find an extra $30,000. Your savings? Gone. That renovation fund for year 2? Evaporated. And the worst part? The absolute worst part? This happens before you even have walls. People think they're being smart by going with the cheaper foundation estimate. They think they're being savvy budget managers. But what they don't realize is that a foundation isn't something you can compromise on. It's not like choosing between granite and laminate countertops. This is the literal base of your entire home. And when it fails, or when you discover mid-construction that it needs to be completely redone, the costs don't just double. They triple, sometimes quadruple. Now, let's move to mistake number 2, and this one sneaks up on people because it doesn't reveal itself until you're already living in your barndominium. The insulation oversight. You're going to hear builders talk about spray foam. They'll show you the standard insulation packages. They'll throw around R values like they're speaking a foreign language. And most people just trust it. They assume their builder knows what they're doing. But here's the brutal truth about metal buildings in general and Ranger barndominiums specifically. They're thermal conductors. In summer, they become ovens. In winter, they become freezers. And if your insulation isn't absolutely perfect, not just good but perfect, you're going to pay for it every single month for as long as you live there. I'm talking about electricity bills that make you physically nauseous. Imagine opening your power bill in July and seeing $600, then $700 in August, then $900 in September because you're just trying to keep your home at a livable temperature. Do the math with me for a second. Let's say your insulation oversight costs you an extra $400 per month in utilities. That's $4,800 per year. Over 5 years, $24,000. Over 10 years, $48,000. For something that would have cost you maybe $8,000 to $12,000 to do right the first time. The emotional toll of this isn't just financial. It's the constant discomfort. It's the guilt every time you adjust the thermostat. It's the embarrassment when guests visit and comment on how hot or cold your house feels. It's the growing resentment toward a home that was supposed to be your sanctuary. And here's the really painful part. Fixing insulation after the fact is invasive, expensive, and sometimes impossible without major renovation. Mistake number 3 is where things get truly devastating because this one doesn't just cost money. It destroys your home from the inside out. The moisture barrier gamble. Metal buildings and moisture are enemies. Mortal enemies. And in a Ranger Barndominium, where you've got metal exterior meeting interior living space, condensation becomes your silent assassin. Most builders will include some kind of vapor barrier. But here's what they don't tell you. Standard vapor barriers aren't enough. Not even close. You need a comprehensive moisture management system that accounts for temperature differentials, humidity levels, and the specific climate zone you're building in. Skip this, cut corners here, and within 2 to 3 years, you'll start noticing things. A musty smell that won't go away. Dark spots on your walls. That strange feeling of dampness even when it hasn't rained. And then comes the inspection that changes everything. Mold. Behind your walls. In your insulation. Spreading through your home like a disease. Mold remediation in a barndominium isn't like fixing mold in a traditional home. You're often looking at $30,000 to $50,000 in repairs. Sometimes more. You have to remove contaminated materials, treat the metal framework, replace insulation, rebuild interior walls, and install the moisture barrier system you should have installed from the beginning. But it gets worse. Much worse. Because now you have to disclose this mold history if you ever want to sell. Your home's value tanks. Your insurance premiums skyrocket. And if anyone in your family has respiratory issues, you're living in a health hazard while you scramble to find the money to fix it. The weight of this mistake doesn't hit you all at once. It's gradual. It's insidious. It's waking up one day and realizing that your dream home has become your nightmare. And there's no easy way out. Mistake number 4 is subtle until it's not. And by the time you realize you've made it, you're trapped. The electrical system underestimation. When people design their Ranger Barndominiums, they think about the now. They think about their current needs, their current lifestyle. They plan for the outlets they need today, the circuits that make sense today. But barndominiums are different from traditional homes. They're massive open spaces that people tend to evolve over time. That workshop you didn't plan for, you'll want it in year 2. That home theater system, year 3. The electric vehicle charging station, the hot tub, the expanded kitchen with professional-grade appliances, all of that requires serious electrical capacity. And if you didn't plan for it from the beginning, if you went with the minimum panel size and the basic electrical layout, you're going to face a choice. Live with limitations forever, or pay to have your entire electrical system upgraded. We're talking about $15,000 to $25,000 to upgrade your panel, run new circuits, and bring everything up to code for your new needs. But here's the part that really stings. You knew you wanted these things. Deep down you knew. But when your builder said you could always add them later, you believed it would be simple. You believed it would be affordable. The emotional impact of this mistake is the constant feeling of living in an incomplete home. It's the frustration every time you have to choose which appliances you can run simultaneously. It's the embarrassment of telling guests they can't plug in their equipment because you'll trip a breaker. It's the growing list of someday projects that you can't afford to tackle because the foundational electrical work is so expensive. And now we arrive at mistake number 5, the one that combines everything we've talked about into one catastrophic failure point. The HVAC misconfiguration. Open concept living is beautiful. Those soaring ceilings, those massive spaces, they're the whole reason people want barndominiums. But here's what happens. People install HVAC systems designed for traditional homes with traditional layouts and traditional ceiling heights. And it fails. Spectacularly. Your system runs constantly, but can't maintain temperature. You've got hot spots and cold spots. The second floor bedroom is 20 degrees warmer than the living room. Your unit breaks down constantly from overwork. And your energy bills reflect a system that's fighting a losing battle against physics. The proper HVAC solution for a Ranger barndominium isn't one unit. It's often multiple zones, strategically placed vents, possibly supplemental systems for those high ceiling areas, and definitely commercial-grade equipment that can handle the volume. The difference in cost between what people install and what they should install? $20,000 to $35,000. And here's the crushing reality. You don't discover this mistake in month one. You discover it gradually. First winter, you think it's just because the system is new and needs adjustment. First summer, you tell yourself next year will be better once everything settles. But year 2 comes, and it's worse. Year 3, and you're facing a major replacement decision. Do you throw good money after bad trying to fix an inadequate system? Or do you bite the bullet and install what you should have installed from the beginning? Either way, you're out $30,000 or more. Plus all the utility bills you've been hemorrhaging for years trying to make an inadequate system work. You know what's interesting about all 5 of these mistakes? They're all connected by one common thread. They all seemed like reasonable decisions at the time. Nobody wakes up and decides to torpedo their own dream. Nobody looks at their budget and thinks, you know what? I'm going to cut corners in ways that will cost me exponentially more later. But that's exactly what happens. Because in the moment, when you're trying to make your budget work, when your builder is reassuring you that the standard approach is fine, when you're exhausted from making 1,000 decisions, these mistakes feel like non-decisions. They feel like the path of least resistance. And that's exactly why they're so dangerous. But here's the twist. The thing I haven't told you yet. Every single one of these mistakes, every single $30,000 nightmare I just described, they're not actually inevitable. They're not bad luck. They're not the cost of building a barndominium. They're the cost of not knowing what questions to ask. Because here's the secret that successful barndominium owners know. The money you spend on expertise before you build is worth 10 times what you'll spend fixing mistakes after. A proper soil analysis before you finalize foundation plans maybe costs you $1,500, saves you $30,000. A thermal imaging consultation and custom insulation design might cost you $3,000 upfront, saves you $50,000 over the life of your home. A comprehensive moisture management system designed by someone who actually understands metal buildings in your climate could cost you $5,000 extra, prevents a $50,000 mold disaster,